and saving the least for last. My name is Tom Hernandez. I'm a writeaholic. I was born... Take my wife, please. I was born, I am from Joliet, east side of Joliet, boy. Now I live in Plainfield with my wife Kelly and my, I was about to say my two daughters, but that's not true anymore, which is kind of the point of my reading tonight. With my youngest daughter, Olivia, my oldest just got married, and with our 14-year-old dog who sleeps 25 hours a day. I have been writing like a lot of people since childhood. In fact, literally I started writing in about 4th grade when I started to publish a student newspaper at F.E. Marsh Elementary School. The school no longer exists, but my mom still has the newspapers, I'm not kidding, and is hoping to cash in on them, I'm sure. I was a professional reporter, I wrote a column for a lot of years, I've written poetry and plays and just about everything else, and really prefer to write essays, the occasional short story, and I continue slogging along on a novel that's going to kill me, I'm sure. Tonight I am going to read an essay that I wrote on the occasion of my oldest daughter's wedding about 2 months ago, called Left Foot, Right Foot. My glazed eyes skimmed an eclectic collection of toys from the 60s and 70s as the stinging odor of mold jitterbugged across the dance floor of my nostrils. It was the 5th antique store that we visited that Saturday afternoon, which by my way of counting was about 4 too many. To twist a coin phrase, one person's treasure is another person's trash. Are you having a good time? I stared cautiously into my wife's eyes, which had drawn and trapped me like a mastodon 31 years ago, and have captivated me ever since. Her bright smile was toothy proof that she was thoroughly enjoying this item on our growing list of, quote, the kids are growing up so we don't have to stay home every minute of every day, adventures. Now, as a veteran married person, I immediately recognized this as a trick question. Much like the classic, does this outfit make me look fat? Its tone and its intention seemed harmless enough, yet the implications of the answer are potentially deadly. A proper response would require every bit of rhetorical skill and relational finesse honed over 27 years of marriage, knowing full well that this woman, though wonderful, charming, smart, fun, talented, and loving, could easily smother me in my sleep for less provocation than this answer would provide. I inhaled, quickly, silently weighed several options, and decided that, in this case, honesty, strategically stirred with a hint of nuanced flirting, was my best play. I exhaled. Then I replied, "You know," I smiled. My hands playfully cupped her hips. "I don't particularly like antiques, but I love spending time with you. That's what's really important." "Ah, well played, sir. Well done. Success." Her laugh, the laugh of an adulthood of trial, tribulation, life and love together, rang with understated but clear doubt, softened by understanding, patience, and good-humored forgiveness for her partner's quirks and quibbles. Her entrancing eyes squinted, Clint Eastwood-like, mouth openly grinning ever so slightly as she noiselessly nodded for several seconds. Uh-huh. The words hung in the air like exhaust fumes, creating a cloud of uncertainty as she turned toward the door. I wasn't sure how to read that reaction. Only a second before I had mentally clapped myself on the back. Now as we headed to store number 6, I wondered if I'd actually succeeded. And if so, at what cost? In any case, our marriage had survived another test. And that is always cause for celebration. Marriage has been on my mind a lot recently. Kelly and I will soon mark our 27th wedding anniversary. And then 2 weeks later to the day, we will give our oldest daughter, Emma, to the love of her young life in holy matrimony. Among a lifetime of accumulated experiences and hopefully wisdom, this is what I want our daughter and my future son-in-law to know, practice, and honor. Like many important parts of life, marriage is complex, and sometimes more about what it's not about than what it may seem to be about. For example, Youthful passion is a wonderful part of marriage. But marriage is not about physical fireworks, as our oversexed, media-hyped culture would have us believe. Eventually, in a strong, healthy relationship, the fireworks light the sky less often, but ignite a slow and long-burning intimacy which is not doused by age or time. Likewise, marriage is not about property or possessions. The size and price tag of one's house is not nearly as important as the home that you build together. Marriage is not about kids' names, no matter how much your spouse loved dear old Aunt Gertrude, or even necessarily kids for that matter. Children are a wonderful blessing in countless ways, not the least of which is they can often provide free-ish labor. But the lack of progeny, in my case it was ish, but that's okay. But the lack of progeny does not diminish the choice made repeatedly, expressly and sincerely to honor, witness to, and cherish another human being. Marriage is not about competing with one's spouse. Compete in the workplace or on the basketball court if you must, but leave it there. Marriage done right and well is its own victory, to be shared and savored, not a scoreboard to be fought over and filled in, unless it's with the results of a healthy game of Scrabble or Monopoly, in which case all bets are off. Marriage is not about marking time. Anniversaries are good reminders of how far we've come. Goals are a wonderful way to dream about how far we may yet go. Still, marriage is best lived in the now. Seeing and caring for and celebrating each other for who we are in each moment. Watching each other change and grow. Marriage is about expanding, not limiting, time through each shared laugh, private glance, quiet embrace, and spirited conversation until time stops. Most of all, marriage is not about anyone else, whether foe, family, or friend. Very purposely, marriage is a selfish institution, except in this case, the self is the one person that two people become when they sacrifice for each other. This, perhaps, is the most vexing aspect of marriage. Most of us learn early in life that we are, both by design and by default, part of a clan, and the clan must protect itself. Survival depends on it. Indeed, marriage usually brings new relationships, new alliances, new allegiances. These people are now, suddenly and mysteriously, a part of your clan, and therefore a part of the you that you and your spouse are building. Matrimony expands the universe exponentially just by adding 1 + 1, which is a neat and often wonderful magic trick. Still, in the end, marriage is about no one besides the person to whom you have committed your very being and whose essential spirit you have vowed to nurture. The person you consciously and publicly chose and who you will choose again every day. Everyone else is ultimately sacrificial. Bright, joyous, and sparkling ornaments on the tree of your shared and growing life, but not worth keeping if they overburden the branches. Intuitively, this seems wrong, yet in a way made real only through the airy wisps of faith that bind us to God and to each other, it makes perfect sense. True love, the kind that compels us magnetically toward another human being, motivates us to sacrifice part of me for the whole we, and captures and reflects another's beauty in our eyes, is strongest when it is direct, focused, undiluted by external forces or internal interests. Faith writer Anne Lamott, in her wonderful book, Traveling Mercies, wrote, "This is the most profound spiritual truth I know, that even when we're most sure that love can't conquer all, it seems to anyway." Marriage is about that kind of love. Solid, committed, overcoming, resilient. The kind that costs much, yet yields more. The kind that changes entire worlds with two of the smallest words, I do. God is love in our lives. Grace is God speaking to us and through us and within us, sometimes whispering, sometimes shouting, but always chattering away. Marriage is grace come alive. Like any conversation, for best results there must be a sender and a receiver. Two parties, listening, working, sacrificing, creating, always for the greater good, which is to say, always for the other. Like that antiquing trip, marriage is not about what's on the shelf. It's about the journey. Store to store, up one sidewalk and down another, one step at a time. Through life, walking, left foot to right foot, hand holding hand, souls intertwined, hearts tightly bound. First two, then one, together. And I'll tell you that they're 9 weeks into it and they're still together, so that's good. No Kardashian nonsense for us, brother. We are in this for the long haul, at least for 6 months.